Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I just don't feel like myself lately"? Maybe it's little things like needing more help around the house than you used to, or feeling a bit unsure when standing up from a chair. You're not alone if that sounds familiar. A lot of us reach a certain age and begin to notice subtle shifts. We brush them off at first. It's just a bad day, we tell ourselves. But deep down, there's a quiet worry. Am I starting to lose my independence? Now, before you let that thought scare you, take a deep breath. Because this conversation we're having today, it's not about fear. It's about awareness, and more importantly, action. You see, losing independence doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in through everyday habits, small physical changes, or mental shifts that we don't always notice until they start affecting how we live. But here's the good news. Just as it slips in gradually, it can also be reversed step by step, with awareness, a bit of effort, and the right support. So today, let's gently open the door to this topic together. We're going to explore 4 early signs that you may be losing a bit of independence. But we're not stopping there. We'll also talk about simple, practical ways you can take that power back. Because independence isn't just about being able to cook a meal or drive to the store. It's about confidence. It's about dignity. And it's about living life on your own terms, no matter your age. Let's start with something you may not expect: hesitation. Have you ever stood at the bottom of a staircase, looked up, and thought twice? Or maybe you found yourself waiting a few extra seconds before stepping into the shower or bending down to pick something up. That small pause, it can be subtle, but often, it's the body's way of signaling that your balance, coordination, or sense of control isn't quite what it used to be. You're not scared exactly, but you're cautious. And that caution can slowly begin to change how you move through your day. Now, don't get me wrong, being careful is smart. But there's a big difference between being safe and being afraid. When you start avoiding certain tasks because you're unsure you can manage them, that's when independence begins to slip away. Here's what you can do. Start small and build confidence back in. You don't need to run a marathon or join a boot camp. Just practice stepping sideways while holding onto the back of a chair, or balance on one foot while brushing your teeth. These tiny actions can rebuild those coordination muscles and remind your brain that you're still steady, still capable. Over time, those few seconds of hesitation start to disappear. You begin to move through your space with purpose again. That's independence in action. Now let's talk about the second sign. This one is a bit more emotional, and many people don't talk about it. But it's so important. It's the feeling of being overwhelmed by tasks that used to be simple. Have you ever walked into your kitchen, looked at the dishes, the clutter, the crumbs on the floor, and just turned around and walked out? It's not because you're lazy. It's because that moment suddenly felt too big. Losing motivation for basic tasks is often a hidden sign that something deeper is happening. It might be physical fatigue, or it might be emotional, like feeling disconnected or even a little down. And when we avoid those tasks, they pile up. Slowly, our environment changes. We begin to live in smaller and smaller corners of our own homes. The kitchen goes unused. The laundry builds up. The front door stays locked more often than not. We stop inviting people over. And just like that, independence slips further from reach. But here's the beautiful truth. This pattern is not permanent. You can reverse it, even starting today. The trick is to reframe those big tasks into tiny wins. Instead of thinking, "I have to clean the whole kitchen," think, "I'm just going to wipe down the counter." Once you start, your energy and confidence begin to rise. You remember that you're not powerless. You're just human, and humans work best with momentum, not pressure. Another thing that helps? A rhythm. A little routine. Something as simple as waking up, stretching your arms over your head, drinking a glass of water, and opening a window can set the tone for your whole day. And if you can call a friend while doing the dishes, even better, shared moments lighten the load. You're not doing it alone. And speaking of not being alone, let me say this loud and clear. Needing help doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. True independence isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about knowing what you need and being brave enough to ask for it when the time comes. That courage, that's strength. So if you've noticed that feeling of hesitation when standing, or felt overwhelmed by the little things that once came easily, don't panic. These are signs not of decline, but of change. And change can be met with strength, awareness, and hope. The first steps back to independence are always the smallest, but they matter more than you think. So now that we've begun to tune in to those early signals, those quiet pauses before movement, and those moments of emotional overwhelm, let's continue by exploring something a little deeper. Something that often hides in plain sight: social withdrawal. This one can sneak up on you. Maybe you used to chat with your neighbors over the fence or regularly meet friends for lunch. But lately, you find yourself saying, maybe next week, or I just don't feel up to it today. You might still enjoy the idea of going out, but when the time comes, you choose the couch. The TV remote becomes your most frequent companion. And at first, it feels like rest until it starts to feel like isolation. Here's the truth. Pulling back from social interaction is one of the strongest signs that independence might be slipping. And it doesn't always look like loneliness. It often shows up as disinterest, low energy, or even irritability. You might say, I just don't have anything to say, or they're all so busy I don't want to be a bother. But connection is vital not just emotionally, but physically and mentally too. Studies show that regular conversation, laughter, even short phone calls, help protect your memory, improve balance, and boost motivation to stay active. So what can you do if you feel yourself pulling away? Start with the smallest possible outreach. Send a message. Call someone you haven't spoken to in a while, even just to say, I was thinking of you. No need for long conversations or big reunions. A simple check-in can remind your heart that it still belongs in the world, still matters to someone. And if you're feeling extra bold, say yes to a small social event, even a walk with a neighbor or a game night at the local center. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting out the door. But once you do, your spirit remembers how good it feels to belong. And if leaving the house still feels overwhelming, invite the world in. Host a cup of tea. Let your grandchildren show you a silly video. Or join an online class or group, yes, even if you're not tech savvy. Learning something new, even at 75 or 85, sends a powerful message to your brain. I'm still growing. I'm still here. Independence isn't just about walking unassisted. It's about staying connected to life. That brings us to the next sign. This one is subtle, and for many, it's the hardest to admit. Difficulty managing time and decisions. Maybe you find yourself forgetting appointments, or starting a task and not finishing it. Or you open the refrigerator and forget why you're there. You might laugh it off. Oh, just a senior moment. But deep down, it bothers you. You wonder if something more serious is going on. And that worry, that little knot of fear in your chest, it can be enough to stop you from doing things you once loved. But pause with me here. Let's breathe through this. Memory lapses happen to everyone, not just older adults. And decision fatigue? That's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of a busy, thoughtful mind that might just need a little support. So here's what you can do. Simplify your choices. Build structure into your day, not strict rules, but gentle rhythms. Keep a notepad in your pocket or use voice memos to remind yourself of small tasks. Label cabinets. Set recurring calendar alerts. These aren't signs that you're giving up control, they're tools to keep your mind clear so you can focus on what matters. And when you accomplish one of those tasks, when you remember to water the plant or take your medicine on time, celebrate it. Say out loud, I did that. Because those little victories build the bigger picture of independence. Also, never underestimate the power of a calm mind. Stress, clutter, and even dehydration can fog your memory more than age ever will. So drink your water. Step outside. Let sunlight touch your skin. You're not losing your independence. You're learning how to protect it in new ways. And if you're ever truly concerned, if you feel like the fog isn't lifting, talk to your doctor. There's no shame in seeking answers. The more you understand about your body and mind, the more power you have to support them. You are not broken. You are simply adjusting to a new chapter. And that chapter can be just as beautiful as the last, if not more so. Everything we've talked about so far, movement, motivation, connection, and memory, they're all threads of the same tapestry. When one starts to unravel, the others feel it too. But you have the tools, right now, to start weaving those threads back together. One breath, one call, one small action at a time. One of the most overlooked signs that independence is starting to fade isn't found in your body or even in your memory. It shows up in your sense of purpose. That quiet feeling that whispers, "What am I even doing this for anymore?" It might come on in the morning, when you sit in the kitchen and the day stretches out in front of you like a blank page. Or maybe it's that hollow feeling in the evening, when the house gets quiet and you realize it's been a while since you felt truly excited about something. Losing a sense of purpose doesn't mean you've lost yourself. It just means your world has shifted and your heart is waiting for a new spark. You see, when we're younger, our roles are clear. We're parents, workers, caretakers, problem solvers. We're always needed. But as we age, those roles begin to change or even disappear. The kids grow up. The job ends. The house gets quieter. And suddenly, we're left wondering where we fit in now. It's not that we don't want to do things, it's that we're not sure what to do anymore. But here's what I want you to remember. Purpose doesn't retire. It evolves. Your life still holds so much meaning, more than you probably give yourself credit for. You carry decades of wisdom, humor, love, and resilience. And someone out there needs exactly that. Maybe it's the neighbor down the street who could use a kind word. Maybe it's a grandchild who lights up every time you tell them a story from your past. Or maybe it's you. Maybe the person who needs your care and attention now is you. So how do we rediscover that sense of purpose? We start by noticing what lights us up. What brings even a tiny flicker of joy? Is it music? Gardening? Writing a letter? Helping someone fix something? These aren't just hobbies, they're lifelines. They're your soul reminding you, hey, I'm still here. Let's do something today. And don't be afraid to try something new. Join a group. Volunteer. Paint something. Plant a flower. Take a class, even an online one. You're not too old. In fact, this might be the perfect time. Because now, you're not doing it to prove anything. You're doing it because you want to. And that kind of motivation, it's powerful. Here's another thought. Share what you've learned. Your story matters. The things you've lived through, the ups, the downs, the unexpected twists, they're valuable. Whether you share it with a friend, in a journal, or through a recording on your phone, those reflections help anchor you in your own legacy. And there's nothing more powerful than feeling connected to your own journey. Because independence isn't just about walking upstairs or remembering appointments. It's about feeling alive, feeling needed, feeling like your life still has momentum. And it does. And I want to say this as clearly as I can. It is never too late. Never too late to try something new. Never too late to reconnect. Never too late to feel strong again. You are not in life's closing chapter, you're simply in a quieter one. And quiet doesn't mean empty. Sometimes, it's in the stillness that we hear ourselves most clearly. So if you've been feeling a little lost, a little disconnected, take that as a signal, not a verdict. You're not failing. You're being invited. Invited to rediscover what gives you joy. What makes you curious? What gets you out of bed with a little more light in your eyes? And if some days are harder than others, that's okay too. Progress isn't a straight line. Some mornings you'll feel energized, others you may not. That's part of being human. The important thing is that you don't let the hard days define you. They don't get the final word. You are not your aches. You are not your forgetfulness. You are not your quiet house. You are a whole person, with a voice that still matters, with laughter that still heals, with a presence that still touches the lives of those around you, even if you don't always see it. Now, if there's a takeaway from all of this, it's that independence isn't something you either have or don't have. It's a dynamic, living relationship between your mind, your body, your choices, and your heart. And when you pay attention to those small signals, when you respond with compassion, courage, and care, you reclaim your place in your own life story. You've made it this far with me. And I just want to pause for a second to say this. That means something. It means you care. It means you're curious. It means you're not ready to give up your freedom, your confidence, your sense of control, and you shouldn't. Because even if you've noticed some of these signs creeping into your daily life, you're not powerless. You're not stuck. You're not fading. You're still in charge. And that matters more than anything. You know, independence isn't really about being able to do everything alone. It's about feeling that your life still belongs to you, that you can make your own choices, that your days aren't just something to get through, they're something you shape. That's a powerful feeling, and it's not something you lose overnight. Just like a strong tree doesn't fall in one gust of wind, your independence is rooted deep. It just might need a little care, a little attention, and a few supportive hands to help it stand tall again. If you've seen hesitation in your movements, overwhelm in your tasks, distance in your relationships, or emptiness in your purpose, don't see those as the end. See them as invitations. They're calls from within, gently saying, "Hey, don't forget about me." Because you still have so much left to live for, so much to give, so much to experience. Whether it's laughing with your grandchildren, tending to a little herb garden, calling an old friend, dancing in the kitchen while making breakfast, or simply feeling proud that you got up and made your bed this morning, those moments matter. And what's so powerful is that every step you take toward reclaiming your independence sends a ripple through the rest of your life. When you stretch your legs a little more, you feel stronger. When you clean off the kitchen table, you feel lighter. When you call someone just to say hello, you feel more connected. When you take one small action, even a deep breath and a smile in the mirror, you remind yourself, "I'm still me." Yes, the version of you may have changed a little over the years. Maybe your body feels a little slower. Maybe your routines look different. But you're still you. Still vibrant. Still wise. Still capable. Still worthy of a life that feels free and full. So what now? If anything in this conversation has sparked something inside you, act on it. Not next week. Not tomorrow. Today. Right now even. Stand up and stretch. Drink a glass of water. Call someone. Write down one thing you'd love to do this month. Reorganize a drawer. Dance to your favorite old song. Try one thing that says, "This is my life, and I'm living it." And if you ever feel stuck, or scared, or unsure, reach out. Independence doesn't mean isolation. In fact, the strongest people are the ones who know when to ask for a hand, a voice, a smile, a friend. There's no weakness in that. There's courage. There's wisdom. There's strength in community. And if you've made it through this video, I want you to know, you've already taken the first step. You've chosen awareness. You've chosen hope. You've chosen to believe that change is still possible, and that's the spark that can reignite everything. So here's what I'd love for you to do now. If something in this video spoke to you, share it. Not just by clicking a button, but by talking about it. Maybe there's someone in your life who needs to hear this message too. Maybe they've been quietly struggling, wondering if they're losing a bit of themselves too. Be the voice that says, "You're not alone, and you can take your life back, one small step at a time." And if you're comfortable, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. What helps you feel strong? What keeps you going? What small win did you have this week that reminded you of your independence? You never know who might be inspired by your words. While you're here, don't forget to like this video. It helps others find it. And if you'd like more content like this, hit subscribe. We talk about real things here, with honesty, hope, and heart. This is a space for you. So let me leave you with this final thought. No matter what your age, your independence is not behind you. It's within you, and it's waiting for you to claim it. One choice, one habit, one day at a time. Here's to walking taller, loving deeper, and living freely at every age.